As I mentioned in the end of the last video, starting from here on out, the goal is to add a join page like the one you see here, where you provide a name and you provide the room name you want to join. You'll then be able to join a given room, talk to anybody else in that room, and you won't be able to communicate with other people in other rooms. This means that when you click this form, you're going to click join, and we're going to have some custom information passed into the URL, into the chat application as we know it, the one that looks like this. Now, in order to get that done, the first thing we're going to do is tweak the current HTML file. Right now, index.html is going to load first. We actually don't want that to be the case. When we go to localhost 3000, we want to show our new join page. So what I'm going to do instead is move this by renaming it. We're going to rename index.html to chat.html, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with index.js, renaming it to chat.js. And last but not least, I'm going to update the reference down below where we load in index.js. Instead, we'll load in chat.js. Now that we have this in place, we no longer have an HTML page that's going to load when you visit the site. If I try to go to localhost 3000, we're going to get an error saying we cannot get that route. Nothing's coming back from the server. To fix this, we're going to create our brand new page as index.html. This is going to be the one that loads when a user visits the app. Now we'll start off with a very basic template specifying things we've done before, like a doc type, setting it equal to HTML5. Then we're going to go ahead and add our HTML tag. Inside of here, we can then add our head and body tags. I'm going to add my head tag first, and then I can go ahead and add my body tag. And we'll kick things off by adding a few tags into the head, like meta, so we can set our char set. Right here, char set is going to equal UTF-8, and we're also going to set a few other properties. I'm going to set a title tag. This is going to show up inside of the tab as the tab's title. We can set ours to join. Then we can add a space, a vertical line by using shift / and the name of our app, something like chat app. This will show up in the tab title. Then we can go ahead and link in our style sheet just like we did for chat.html. Right here, I'm going to grab that style sheet reference, copy it into the head, and I'm going to add a title tag to chat.html. Right here in chat.html, we can specify title just like we did over inside of index.html. We can give this one a page of chat with a bar surrounded by spaces, and we're also going to give it the same app name, chat app. Awesome. Now that we have this in place, there is one more thing I want to do before we start updating the body. This is set a viewport tag. Viewport tags let you specify certain things about how your site should be rendered. The viewport tag I'm about to add is going to make our website display much better on mobile. Instead of being really zoomed out, it's going to fit to the width of your phone, tablet, or any other device. We're going to copy this tag from index.html to chat.html when we're done, but for now, we'll kick things off by adding a meta tag. This time around, instead of specifying char set like we've done in the past, we're going to give it a name equal to viewport, and now we can go ahead and add a few options about what we want to do to that viewport. All this is going to happen inside of content. This is going to be a comma separated list of key value pairs. One, for example, is width. We're going to set that equal to device hyphen width, and this tells your browser to use the device's width as the web page's width. Then we can add a comma space and specify our next key value pair. I'm going to use initial scale. We're going to set that equal to 1. This is going to scale the website appropriately so it doesn't look all zoomed out. And finally, user-scalable. We'll set that equal to no. We have styles in place to make the text bigger and to make sure that a user can always see everything, so there's no reason to give users the ability to scale. Now, as mentioned, we're going to take this meta tag, copy it to the clipboard, and add it for chat.html as well. Awesome. And now that we have our head tag set up for index.html, we can move on to the body. We're going to be using a similar set of classes designed to work with this page. To kick things off on the body, we're going to add a class of centered. form. This is going to center that form in the screen and give the entire website that blue background with the gradient. Next up, we can go ahead and provide the little box. This is going to be the centered white box that has our form in it. That's going to be via a div, and we're going to give this div a class. We're going to set that class equal to, inside of quotes, centered, -form __ form. Awesome. Now that we have these two classes in place, we are ready to move on, actually adding some of the fields that are going to go in that white box, starting with that title chat. To do this, we're going to create a few divs. They're all going to look identical, so we'll make them once and duplicate them. And we're going to add a class equal to form-field. Now we're going to use this 4 times, once for the title, once for the name, once for the room name, and once for the button. In order to get that done, what we're going to do is simply copy the line and paste it 4 times right here. Now all of this needs to go inside of a form tag. The whole goal of this page is to take that data and submit it, redirecting the user to the chat page where we can then bring them into a specific chat room using the name they provided. That means we want to wrap these form fields inside of a form tag by opening it here and closing it down below. Now previously we saw the default behavior for a form tag is to reload the current page, posting the data as a query string. What we're going to do instead is specify an action attribute, which lets us customize which page to go to. In this case, we're going to go to /chat.html, the page that we set up just now. This means that when someone's done filling out the form field, they're going to get redirected to the chat page, and the data down below will get passed along too. Now the title div is easy. All we're going to do is add an h3 with whatever title you want. You could say chat or join a chat. That looks pretty good. Then I can go ahead and close my h3 and move on to the next form field, which is going to be the display name. I am going to use a label. A label is going to describe a field. This one will be display name. So we'll open and close the label tag like this. And next up, we can add an input. Right here, we're going to add an input just like we did for the input on our message form. We're going to specify type equal to text. We want the user to be able to enter some text. And we're also going to give it a name equal to name. We are going to use autofocus. Once again, this is going to make sure that when a user first visits the app, their cursor is placed inside of the name field. Next up is the field for the room name, which is going to look pretty similar to the one above. We are going to start with a label once again. This label is going to be a string, something like room name, and we're also going to add an input right here so the user can specify the room name. Type equals text, and the name will equal room. There is no need for autofocus on this one since we already have an autofocused input up above. Now that we have this in place, we can go ahead and fill out the final form field, which is going to be the submit button for our form by simply creating a button just like this and giving it a text value. We can have ours set to join. With this in place, our index.html file is actually done. We can load it over inside of the browser. Our server had automatically restarted, so a quick refresh should show our page join a chat app. The goal is to set this up to take a name like Andrew and a room name like Node Course Students. You click join and it joins you into this room with this name. Now currently all it's going to do is redirect us to chat.html, but as you'll see, it does indeed pass the data along. Here we have name equal to Andrew, and we have room name equal to Node Course Students, just like we specified over inside of index.html. With this in place, we are now ready to start talking about how we can join specific rooms inside of Socket.io, making sure the events we emit only go to other people connected to that room. We have the stuff in place to get this done, so we're going to get started with all of that in the next video. For now, we have a pretty great looking join page. This is where we can join a room. Let's wrap this up with a commit, committing our changes. If I run git status, you're going to see that we have a modified file, index.html, and that also thinks we deleted index.js, although we add something down below. When we run git add, dot and rerun git status, it's going to understand exactly what happened. Here you can see we copied index.html to chat.html. We then modified index.html and we renamed index.js to chat.js, which is exactly what we did. I'm going to go ahead and actually make the commit using git commit with the M flag, add join page that submits to chat.html. We can then make the commit, push it up to GitHub, and that is it for this one. I will see you next time.